All right, this is a super special interview, special episode. I can't believe we're here with Mr. Nick Parisi, the freaking president of the Rod Serling Foundation, right? Is that the official
That's
title? President of the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation
correct. That's it. Yeah.
and author of Rod Serling, His Life, Work, and Imagination. Thanks for joining us, sir. It's great to have
Thanks
you.
for having me. Great to chat Serling at any opportunity I can.
Stay tuned because your next stop is the Highlight Zone After Hours.
The Twilight Zone.
We're here because this is, while I want to grill you all day about your book and everything like that, what we're actually talking about is SerlingFest X, which happens next weekend. So, first of all, your book came out. When did you write this? Because your story is kind of like a lot of people's, where you started watching The Twilight Zone based on reruns, right?
Oh yeah.
Just
Oh
the
yeah. Yeah.
marathons.
Yeah. I'm not old enough to have seen it in the original run. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah. No. No. My book was published originally into end of 2018 in hardcover, and then the paperback came out about 2 years ago. And yeah, I started watching The Twilight Zone the end of the 70s, early 80s in reruns. And that's what most people did, really. I mean, these
Yep.
shows from the 60s that were not so big when their original run became phenomenons after they went into syndication. Star Trek was the biggest example, and Twilight Zone wasn't far behind. It became a huge deal in syndication, and that's when I fell in love with it.
So you're sitting there watching the marathons, getting sucked in at nighttime, like the way I think most people, that's how she's been roped in. Actually, she had a really cool teacher that was showing her
Yep.
videos
Some
in
That's
high
great.
school.
TV production class.
But
Oh,
like
that's
me,
Pretty sure I was
great.
the only one paying attention to that class.
here's a big question for you. So you're young, you're sitting on your couch watching the reruns. What is the first episode that you remember that like grabbed you?
Well, I say this all the time that I'm apparently one of the few people who can't really remember the very first episode that I saw. Most people apparently do. You ask people the first episode, and they know that first episode, but I cannot remember the first episode. I could probably narrow it down to a couple.
Yeah.
I'm sure that The Hitchhiker was one of the first ones that I saw. I am sure that Stopover in a Quiet Town, strangely enough, was one of the first ones I saw. I remember that twist ending. Those two for sure were among the first couple.
My teacher showed us two. It was Time Enough at Last, and then I'm so bad at remembering the name, but the one where the officer goes back to the Holocaust camp.
Oh,
Oh
Death
wow,
Revisited.
wow,
Thank you.
yeah,
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 those two he showed us,
wow,
and I was like, "Yep, this
yeah,
is for
wow.
me."
So
Okay.
Deep one to show in a high school class.
Well,
it
you
is
you you
actually.
both
It
you
really
both
is.
started with good ones. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
not Eye of the Beholder and yeah, and Time Enough at Last. You can't get too much better than that.
That's not fair. That's not fair at all.
When did you start coming up with the idea that I'm going to put a book together?
Pretty early in the process. Again, the book was published in 2018. I started writing it probably around 2014. And the initial idea that I had was I was collecting. I was collecting rare DVDs of things that Serling had written. Of course, I'm talking about things outside the Twilight Zone because the Twilight Zone is easy to get in multiple formats. So I was trying to track down copies of anything else that he wrote that still exists. So I'm talking about Playhouse 90 and Studio One, and even much earlier than that, Hallmark Hall of Fame, and those early shows. And what I wanted to do was I first wanted to just compile a list of everything that Rod Serling wrote that had been produced in some fashion on television, radio, feature films, whatever it may be. And oddly enough, what I was finding was there was not even a complete list available anywhere. Every list I consulted was missing things. IMDb was missing things. Our own website, rodserling.com, the Memorial Foundation was missing things or had errors and things like that. So the first thing I wanted to do was come up with the absolute positive, definitive list of everything Rod Serling wrote that had been produced. And once I did that, I wanted to know what all these shows were about. What was the story? I had read, biographies of Serling and other things where, it would have a one-line synopsis of the show. It would be, the show was about this and it was about that. And I wanted to know the actual story. So I decided I'm going to synopsize every one of these shows that I had collected. And again, I'm talking about the rarer shows. I'm going to start synopsizing these. And pretty soon after that, I realized this is a book. There's a book in here because nobody has ever synopsized all these unusual shows that Rod Serling had written. So it became the idea for the book came that I wanted to have a chronological list of everything Rod Serling wrote and synopsize every single one so that the reader, when they read it, they would actually feel to some extent like they'd seen that show that maybe they're never going to get a hold of. A show that's only available at some archive somewhere or at the Paley Center for Media in New York City. They're never going to see the show. But if they read my synopsis of it, it's not just going to be a TV Guide synopsis of 2 or 3 sentences. It's going to actually tell the story as if it's a short story, really. So that was the idea behind it. And pretty quickly, I got the whole structure of the book came to me, that I wanted it to be part biography and then kind of slip out of the biography to do these videography sections where I would synopsize certain shows. And then I wanted to get into the themes that Rod Serling was dealing with and talk about the themes of whatever that particular show was. Because Rod Serling was dealing with these themes long before the Twilight Zone. He was dealing with certain themes over and over again. And I really was interested in explaining to people where these themes kind of originated in these earlier shows. And, that pretty much was it.
So after reading your book and Anne's book and all of these ones, we all have a pretty good idea of the general softball of what Rod's was. Yours goes into, like you said, a deep dive into the deep cuts of stuff that you don't just find on Wikipedia, which makes yours a unique telling. And I really dig that because we all kind of know what Rod went through. Military guy, I was always appreciative of that. I am too. So I was like, this is amazing. He's a veteran too. This is crazy. We all kind of know that. In your research, what did you ever come up with a moment where you were like, shut up, he didn't do this or think this? And then you're like, wait, really? And you were just floored by it? Anything that jumps out is like, come on.
Well, there are some crazy stories that, Rod was a bit of a daredevil, I think, to some extent. His older brother, Robert, who was a very successful writer in his own regard, he said that Rod probably joined the paratroopers because it was the most dangerous thing he could do. That was just kind of Rod's personality. And I don't think I went into this in the book, but there is a story out there that Rod was one of the first people. He would actually test parachutes to make money. This was after the service. He was testing parachutes, and so he was the guinea pig. These are things that hadn't been tested yet, and he would get like $50 a shot to test these. And one time he landed in a rose bush, and he was completely torn apart. He was just really ripped up, and he had to go see his wife at the time, or she might not have been married. They might not have been married at the time, and convince her that he wasn't in some bar fight or something, because he landed in a rose bush.
Don't worry, I was testing parachutes, babe.
Yeah, I was not very dangerous.
At that point.
So that's probably the craziest story that I would hear would have come across. Yeah, but Rod, I mean, really, of course, the more important, the more impressive things about Rod was the way he thought and the ideas and the subjects that mattered to Rod Serling, and they mattered to him very early on. Long before the Twilight Zone.
Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
I feel like pop culture references, how many things, even in modern, I was watching a dumb reality show, Guilty Pleasure, and they even, dumb 20-year-olds, I wasn't one that long ago, they will be like, man, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. And even they will still bring that up. No one I feel like that's limit. But that phrase is so used in pop culture, whether you know what it means or not, it's still thrown around. Everyone knows what that means when you say, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Everyone knows exactly what you mean immediately, even if they've never seen an episode of the show. They know what that phrase means, and again, it's not that's not all that common. There are phrases coming in and out of the culture from TV all the time, but few of them stick. And the Twilight Zone stuck for the last 65 years. It's that alone is pretty amazing.
It is, and let's not skip over the other fact. It has the catchiest theme song in the history of everything, so everyone knows that too. They know that they know when something's weird. They say, "Oh, this is like a Twilight Zone," even though they don't know.
Song too.
Then they'll do.
You'll hear it.
And I'm like, all right, cool. So the broad strokes, but we talked about this with Brian, the guy who's a super fan, and we kind of came to the understanding that I think Twilight Zone was the first pop culture thing. I think it was the very first. It didn't have nothing really had an insane following. You said Star Trek. That was immediately aligned with it, but I can't think of anything that has held on to that pop culture shtick for so long. It's just iconic.
Yeah, not for this long. No,
No.
it's pretty. I mean, I remember them. I'm going back a little ways now. This is maybe 5 years ago or something. But I remember a magazine from England. I think it might have been SFX, maybe, or maybe Empire. They had a cover story, the 50 greatest television series of all time. And the Twilight Zone was the only black and white show on the cover. It was the only one. Everything else was Game of Thrones and Mad Men and Sopranos,
Yep.
and Twilight Zone was the only black and white show on the cover. And that, again, we're not talking about the other ones. We're still, as much as I love the Honeymooners and,
Yep. Yep.
and stuff like that. And I Love Lucy and everything. We're not, we're not talking about them the way we are about this Twilight Zone.
Absolutely not. Which is so cool because then as a young age, you started SerlingFest. Now, give me the gap. How did you go from being 11 years old, like you said, or 12 on your couch to emceeing an event? By the way, MC to MC, I've been emceeing forever, so I have to ask you some emceeing stories about, because these are really interesting panels of people and they're eclectic between actors and writers and authors. This year you have TikTok stars showing up. Like the wave of what you're doing is so cool. How did you make that leap into like, hey, let's start a thing?
Well, I mean, first I got involved with the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation. That was the first thing, and that was right when I first started researching for my book. I got in contact with the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation, and basically just I donated some money. I was interested in what they were doing to preserve Rod Serling's legacy. I read Anne Serling's book, and that I was kind of over the moon after reading that book, and I showed Anne Serling the outline for my book when it was really just a glimmer in my eye, but I had the whole thing outlined, and I showed it to her, and she was very encouraging, which helped a lot. I mean, I met her at a reading that she was doing, and showed her the outline, and she called me the next day and said,
No way.
"Do this, please, please, please do this. Please follow through with this." And when the man's daughter tells you to complete something, you're going to complete the job. So.
It's push, push, push all the way, all the time. It's push, push, push all the way, all the time, right on down the line.
So I did that, and after becoming involved with the foundation and becoming a member of the board, we have a board that runs the foundation, and it was kind of a collective thing that we really need to have a celebration, a celebration of Rod Serling in his hometown. It was very important that we do it in Binghamton, New York, which is where he grew up and was where it just needed to be. So we've done 10 of them so far. 2 of them have been virtual, but all the others have been in person. And they've run from the very first one was just one day, but I think it was about 6 hours long, something like that. To we've done 3 full-day conventions, festivals. This year is 2 full days and then a kind of a informal day, the 3rd day at Recreation Park in Binghamton. So it's just been a group effort. I mean, this year we've had everybody on our board has pitched in to organize, to get the guests together, to get everything worked out. It's a lot of work, and luckily we have a lot of dedicated people who are willing to do that work.
It's incredible work because when you follow you guys on Facebook, seeing what you guys have done and the announcements coming up too. So if you're starting this up, okay, so you first of all, Anne says make the book. You pee your pants a little bit when she calls you and tells you to go. I just did a little bit to know that that's how it went down. So when you start doing this, who is the first? Is it her? Is that who you ask? Like, can you be our panel like specialist or what is it? How do you do this?
Oh, you mean for SerlingFest?
Yeah, of course. Like, who's the first? What's your anchor?
Yeah, going back to then, actually, yeah, Anne and Jody Serling, Jody's Rod's other daughter, they were big in that very first SerlingFest. We wanted to make sure that they were both involved and both there to speak and both there to be available to people who had questions and all that. And again, the nice thing about the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation is we have a group of, I mean, this is the best collection of Rod Serling experts you could ever get in one particular place. I mean, we have Mark DeWidziak is on our board. Mark DeWidziak wrote Everything I Need to Know I Learned in the Twilight Zone. We have Mark Olshaker, who is co-writer of the Mindhunter books. Terrific guy, and he was a friend of Rod Serling, so we have the personal connection there that we can ask Mark about what Rod Serling was like as a mentor, because he really was a mentor to Mark Olshaker. We have Anne, who Anne wrote her book. We have Tony Albarella, who edited the As Timeless as Infinity books, which are the the Rod Serling script books is just
that are very difficult to find and very expensive. I'm looking for one, and it's been in my Amazon cart for $190. And I looked the other day, it goes, it is no longer available. I'm like, of course.
I think we may have a couple of them up for our raffle this year.
You know, listen, I want to talk about the raffle because it is a big source of stress for me. So it started 2 years ago. So it's 10 weeks up until SerlingFest. You insane people like to bait everybody to this torturous Saturday morning thing that now we like 2 weeks ago, it wasn't in the morning, it was in the afternoon. And Sarah's like, it's not in the morning today. And I'm like, what? So explain what this is, because you don't have to go to SerlingFest to be a part of this. And I highly recommend you guys go follow him on Facebook because of this alone.
Well, although now it is over. I think this is the last. Well, this is the last one. There's one more. This is the last one.
I want to get to that because that's the one I freak out about. Go ahead.
But so this year we did 10 weeks. Yeah, last year I think we did 6 weeks. I think 5 or 6 weeks.
Is that right?
Yeah. This was the longest one this year. And what we did is we offered a different item each week for an online auction. Again, this is mainly for people who aren't going to make it to SerlingFest, but we've had a couple people win who are coming to SerlingFest, which is good for us. It saves us some postage. We can just hand them their prize at SerlingFest, which is nice.
I like that.
So yeah, we offer different items for sale. Signed books. This year, the big prize tomorrow is a Rod Serling signed check. And you see these come up on eBay occasionally. Rod's checks. But we've had signed books from all of our authors. We've had
autographs.
Autographs. So we had a Bill Mooney autograph photo this year. This year we have Mary Badham joining us, so we have a Mary Badham autograph photo. We have the bust. Yep. We did one of those last year for sure. I don't know if we did one of the busts this year, but we definitely did. We definitely did one last year. Yeah.
So here's
we may have done one this year too. I'm not sure.
Just so a little insight in the struggle of someone that's not in the Rod Serling Foundation is when you start it, we put in a huge chunk of change and I'm like, this is a lot. I'm like, okay, this is good, right? This is more than I was willing to do, but I'm into it this year. Then the day before, you guys are like, get ready, here it comes. And what do? When she's not looking, I double down. And I'm like, I'm doing another $150. I'm doing it.
I'm hearing this.
I'm going to edit this out. So then you keep going.
Still no.
And there's a mental part of you that says, okay, this is week 1. I didn't win. That's good news because that means my points and my entries are still rolling on.
Yep.
Now, this is where it starts to get sadistic is you're at week 9 and I haven't won. And I'm like, listen, that means all of my chips are in for this last one. But if I don't get it, I'm like, come on, you guys are crazy. You're just baiting us. But it's so much fun to watch.
I think that is a smart thing that we did. That we make sure people know that if they buy at the beginning, they're good for the whole run.
That's smart.
So you could still win the next week. You still win the next week if you haven't won yet. Yeah.
So next week it starts. What's the official start date? Is it the 21st? Is that what it is?
21st. Yes.
21st in Binghamton. Kind of run it through. So we fly in to Syracuse on Thursday, and then we drive in and we're spending the night. You guys have a cool partnership with a great discount on the freaking DoubleTree. That's a killer discount, and that's where we're posted up.
Oh, great. Yeah, this year we decided to have it all at the DoubleTree Hotel, and we thought it was a nice idea to have everybody centralized. Everybody's staying at the DoubleTree anyway. We're going to do it in the ballroom at the DoubleTree. We have our vendors room right outside the ballroom. And we're going to start early Friday morning. Start basically 9 o'clock. That's when the vendors room will open and everything. And we're going to start the events, I believe, at 10 a.m. Friday morning. And every year we do it a little bit different. We've had years where we only did Friday night, and then we did it all day Saturday, and then a little bit on Sunday. And this year we're doing it all day Friday and all day Saturday. So we really and we had to do that because we have so many great guests this year. Well, Mary Badham is coming to join us this year. She was in the very last Twilight Zone episode to air, the Bewitching Pool. Also Frank Spotnitz, who is a producer of the X-Files and one of the kind of the showrunners of the X-Files. He'll be with us again, a huge Serling fan. Joe Dougherty, who's an Emmy Award-winning writer, will be with us, another huge Serling fan. He wrote a book called Rod Serling at 100, One Writer's Appreciation, One Writer's Acknowledgement. Plus, Amy Boyle-Johnston will be with us. She's the author of Unknown Serling. She'll be there. We have a couple of virtual events, people joining us via Zoom call. We have Bill Mooney joining us via Zoom, which is great. We've had him by Zoom before, and everyone loved it. And then one pretty cool thing we're doing also virtually is this year would have been the 100th birthday of Richard Matheson.
Yeah.
And so we're having Richard Matheson's son, R.C. Matheson, who's also a very accomplished writer. He'll be joining us virtually, along with Christopher Beaumont, who is Charles Beaumont's son, will be joining us virtually.
And one of the things that I think is really, really cool is one of your guests, and I'm sorry, you'll know her name in a millisecond. She's a TikTok.
Michaela is the name of the woman who's going to be with us. She does a YouTube a show called Make That Magic, and she reacts to Twilight Zone episodes, many of them that she's seeing for the first time. Yep. So this year at SerlingFest, she has never seen The Invaders. Believe it or not,
my God!
She's never seen The Invaders. And we thought since was I got a couple of them up here too.
Of course, yeah, I was going to say, I know you do.
But so, and particularly celebrating Richard Matheson's birthday, Richard Matheson wrote The Invaders. I said, don't watch The Invaders, because she told me she hadn't seen it. I said, okay, don't watch it. Do it for SerlingFest, So she's going to react to The Invaders at SerlingFest for the first time. So that's going to be fun. And she's hysterical. She's hilarious, but she's also very insightful, and her love for the show obviously just pours out. So yeah, we were really so happy that she agreed to come and join us this year.
I believe you're going my way.
So everyone out there is watching, go read his book, and it is called His Life, Work, and Imagination. All right, so we queued up a game, and instead of doing a retelling, I put together 6 iconic, what I consider iconic, Rod Serling intro narrations. And I've taken away the image, so it's just his sound. And let's see, some of these ones you're going to get probably in 3 seconds. Like, oh, okay, yeah, you just mentioned this person. I get it, right? Whatever. I tried to make it fun. So let's go through. And as soon as you know it, say it. If not, then we will go through it because it's wicked. I had fun putting this stupid thing together. Okay. So here's the first clip, and let's see where we go. This time with sound, crucial to hearing the intro narration without image. All right, here we go.
You walk into this room at your own.
The Obsolete Man.
Oh my God.
Leads to the future.
Okay. Hold on a second. I love this whole tone.
Well, one of my favorite episodes for sure.
Oh, top 5. All right, ready?
Yep.
So you're 1 for 1, and you're at like 1.8 seconds total. I'm not going to keep track of the time, but you're 1 for 1 before it finished. Okay, here we go. Number 2.
Quitting time at the plant. Time for supper now.
Oh, Perchance a Dream?
Time for a cool drink on a porch.
Do you know it?
Time for the quiet
is it Third Rock? Not Third Rock, but the
Third from the Sun?
yes.
She gets credit for that. She gets credit for that.
See, that's the thing.
I got it from Plant when he said we left the plant.
See, you know what?
That's where they work.
When I was
Putting time at the plant, yeah.
putting it together, he says plants, and I'm like, are they walking out of a plant at the beginning?
Yeah.
So I went back and walked in. It's like a fenced-in factory.
It's terrifying.
I never thought of it as a plant. So
I
I'm
hated
like,
that feeling when they leave. Like, I just feel like, yeah.
Look at her grabbing one.
Nice job.
All right, here we go. Number 3.
Suspended in time and space for a moment, your introduction to Miss Janet Tyler.
Okay.
Lives in
The Beholder. Okay, yeah.
There we go.
Got it quicker.
See, this is one of those ones I have seen more times than I probably should. And I get that song, that do,
Yeah, I should have got it just from that. Yep.
All right, clip 4. Here we go.
This is one of the out-of-the-way places.
The Invaders.
Yeah, nicely done. Let's let this play out for a second because I like this one a lot.
Farmhouse.
One of the reasons that's one of my favorite intros is because at the end of it, he's literally in the room with the actress and she's pretending that she can't see him. She's like through a window and he's outside. I love it when he's actually in there. That's why I like the Eye of the Beholder one, is because you see his shadow walk around the corner. That was a cool effect. Some of
there
them
were a lot of cool introductions like that where they made him part of it.
Sometimes they spin the camera so you can't tell that it was filmed at a different time, but I like the ones that are like, oh shit, he was right there. All right, Clip number 5, only one left after this.
The year is 1847. The place is
Ooh.
the territory of New Mexico.
There's so many of these types of episodes. Is it
11
The
months
Hunt?
ago, they started out from
No.
Wait, what?
No, I said The Hunt, but it's not.
Same music.
California, about a warm sun and a blue sky.
Oh, Dust?
At this moment, almost a year
No,
later,
they have the
see
same
nothing
song.
but
You're right, though.
cold, heat, exhaustion,
Watched it
hunger,
1,000
and
times.
Okay,
Oh,
this
oh.
is the
This man's
Okay.
name is
Unfair
Christian
advantage.
Warren,
Christian
the Night?
dying 8-year-old son
100 yards
starts
over the
his
rim,
life.
Oh, man.
which is
All right.
tied for my favorite episode. I have 3
Oh,
topics
really?
that I refuse to do.
You don't like that one?
Oh, no, I love it. My thumbs down was for me.
I was like,
for my
controversial.
Here's this last one. I put this one on because this is arguably the best because it goes on for really long. I probably already just spoiled
you
it.
probably gave it away already.
I
but
think
yeah.
I did, but let's just do it, baby, because it's what I consider the GOAT. Here we go. We already know you know.
On the Twilight Zone is somewhat unique.
Yep, it's a good life.
Yep, absolutely. I spoiled that, but you would have
The
had
extra
it.
long Yeah, no, I would have gotten this one. Script went through some pretty heavy revisions. It's a good life script, and in the original scripts, each character was introduced. So it's part of the introduction where like the father would actually address the camera, and Rod would say, and this is the monster's father, and Mr. Fremont would say, hi, I'm Anthony's father. I'm the father, and I do that. And each character would kind of introduce themselves. And I think smartly, Rod decided to go a different direction, and he, pretty significantly edited that script.
It would have been like a really dark sitcom intro.
yeah, good.
You're a bad man. You're a very bad man.
Well, Nick, it was freaking fantastic. I think I stopped stuttering when I realized that you were a cool guy and I didn't have to be nervous. It is incredibly cool to meet you, and I can't wait to chat with you in person next week.
We will chat up a storm at SerlingFest next week for sure. I can't wait to see you'll both be there, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. So I can't wait to see you both.
Can you give everyone the instructions on where to go if they were interested in this website? And then I can't stress enough Facebook, because you guys are really active on Facebook and it's awesome.
Yeah, rodserling.com, pretty easy to remember, rodserling.com. And the first thing you'll see up at the top is SerlingFest. So you click on that and you'll be able to get the schedule and how to get tickets. And the event, it's $60 for the weekend. So it's a really, really reasonably priced event, especially for the amount of entertainment that you're getting. So rodserling.com for all the information about SerlingFest. Check us out at Facebook, the Rod Serling Memorial Foundation on Facebook. I don't know what our actual site is on there, but just look up Rod Serling Memorial Foundation. You'll find us on Facebook. And yeah, we try to be very active there. We're active on other social media as well, but I'm mostly on Facebook. And listen, if you can't make it to SerlingFest, if you want to just donate to the foundation, we are a 501c3 charity. None of us get paid for this. None of us get paid for SerlingFest. We're not, when all the money, any money that we make from SerlingFest goes directly to the foundation for other projects that we have, like the statue, and we have other things on the horizon that we're hoping to realize in the next couple of years. So please, do what you can to support the foundation from here on out.
Let's go.
No,
Are you just going to stay here?
I don't know.
All right. Well, Nick, it was awesome meeting you. Thank you so much. We look forward to being at SerlingFest. Everybody, make sure you go and follow them on Facebook, like right now. It's fantastic. And
This was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks.
right on. All right, Nick. Well, thank you very much for being here, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See you next week.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where is this place and when? The answer is it doesn't make any difference.
Can you say eggs?
Steve is.